Well, good morning and welcome to another Enrichment Friday program regarding the college search process. My name is Dave Hamilton, Director of College Advising. Just to make sure everybody can hear me, which I would like to think this is the case, if someone just put a 1 in the chat function, and we will continue. All right, excellent. This will be recorded as well too. It'll be archived, so you'll have access to it. I've also uploaded 2 PDFs, one of this presentation, and the other is also from high impact educational practices that you can refer to as well too for this session. I think the genesis of this program is kind of based on like what a lot of people do already, looking for items, criteria in a college, whether it's cost, location, program of studies, class sizes, a whole host of factors. And they're easily found, in various, on the college websites or other resources as well too. But I think those are kind of the knowns, and they may not even be the best knowns, because especially as we all see, so many things are changing that we may need to look a little deeper and broader and more towards the future in terms of what really, what really matters in one's education. And I've been kicking around this for a couple of years. The first part was, I've been thinking about for a while, and the second part has become a little bit more apparent, just given the changing nature of work, jobs, economies as well too. So I feel that these might be 2 pillars, so to say, or foundations to really consider in the college search process. The first are experiences, and I was thinking about this. It's we all remember like the vacations to the beach where it's sunny and warm and there's sand and a light breeze. That can be accomplished at a lot of different places. So these are like the experiences that we all remember. So it doesn't necessarily have to be like tied in with a certain place or a certain college, but these experiences can be gained from a variety of places. And this listing is, as I mentioned, high impact educational practices recommended by the Association of American Colleges and Universities. And then there's the website for this additional information, or you can refer to the PDF that's attached. So I'm going to just kind of briefly go over 10 items. The students can really make their college educational experience a differential. And it's not just about just going to college, having a major, and getting a degree. It's about what goes into it. And I think one really good way to search for these is just, for any college, just go to the college website and just plug in on the search engine for this first year seminars and experiences and see what comes up. And this is true for a lot of these factors. And I think in maybe like a rough way to judge, like, is it good? Is it fair? Is it, how do you ascertain a quality? Is maybe just assign like a 1 or 2 or a 3. A 3 is, 1 is high, 3 is low. 3 is, there's barely nothing on the website, or it's 7 years old. So that might be a 3. A 2 is, it's like, all right, it has a, first year seminar, but it's for maybe selected students or for students that want to opt into it. A 1 might be, everybody has a first year seminar and it's around a common topic. So maybe that's a rough way to kind of judge these types of factors, these types of experiences. A second one would be a common intellectual experience. University of Richmond has like a book program that everybody reads this one particular book. Providence College has a core curriculum. So I think, no matter, somebody graduates from 1970, 1980, 1990, 2000, 2010, 2020, if graduates of a certain school can relate through it like a common purpose or educational experience, it's one to consider. And again, not all colleges will have all of these factors, and not all of them will I would say, quote, rank a one, but at least, it gives you an idea when you start kind of comparing and contrasting colleges and universities. Learning communities, more and more colleges and universities have learning communities built into the residence halls, where 2 of the, say, 4 classes students have, those classes meet in that building, and it's a shared intellectual experience. More and more colleges actually have writing intensive courses. In some schools, it's part of the major. Other schools will have it like throughout the curriculum. As I call it, educational crowdsourcing, collaborative assignments and projects. This is probably much more common you might see within like the STEM fields, but it's true in all educational endeavors as well too. Unfortunately, maybe not for like the short term, but in time, we'll be able to get around the world a lot easier. So this might be something to consider maybe early on, maybe one's junior, sophomore year, maybe junior year. It could be for a year, a semester, a January semester. I think it's one college, I think it's Shenandoah University. They have a program that students apply for it, and it's a week-long program, and it's like a big reveal. They don't know where they're going until it's kind of revealed at a special program. So I think that's kind of, talk about exciting. But I think this is, regardless of one's major, to have some sort of steady way experience and in a place that is different from their usual surroundings. Service learning, according to the high impact education practices, it has like the highest rate of, yes, this matters a lot. I've got the most out of this endeavor. So I think, by putting like one's learning into action at a local level really yields benefits, and that carries over throughout one's educational career, but also into the professional career as well too. If I would have to kind of choose one factor, like this is the biggest thing, it's internships, in plural, whether it's online, in person, just to get that work experience is invaluable. And it's an easy way for an employer to get a sense of what an intern is like. And this is somebody that we might be able to hire, on down the road. And I have a feeling the percentage of people hired is it's a lot greater than it has been in the past. A capstone course or a project. Where I went to college, I had to do a senior thesis and had to defend it in front of a faculty committee. And if I failed either part, I would have to do a whole different thesis all over again. So if you want to talk pressure, that was pressure. College of Worcester does same thing as well too. So something that a student can really, truly make their mark in their field of study. And this kind of also ties back to a common intellectual experience. So whether it's Worcester, Allegheny where I went, I think Princeton as well too, everybody has to do a thesis. So if one is looking at graduate school, this is like a great opportunity to prepare for it. The second part after experiences are skills. And this comes from like the World Economic Forum, but you would probably see a lot of these skills mentioned in many career surveys from businesses and companies and colleges and universities. So the more you kind of keep looking at them, they tend to have a similar tone in terms of what people are going to be hired for down the road. And as you can see with the experiences and coming up with the skills, this is not college specific. So anybody can really acquire these skills. Because as we've seen, and especially we've seen in the past year, we've learned a lot of new skills ourselves. And I think this is a part of the educational curriculum that goes beyond college into one's professional development, is whether it's programs put on by the employer, by a local college or university, or just self-study. One's going to have to be basically a perpetual learner, more so than ever before. So in terms of looking into the head, in terms of the skills that are needed for the future, whether it's 2025, 2030, 2035 on down the road, you can basically put them into four major categories. One is self-management. And as I just mentioned, in terms of active learning, it's more important than ever before. And not only is that change going to be a part of us for a long time, it just will be. And also the ability to be resilient. And maybe over this year has provided an opportunity to really be tough and dig down deep and to experience grit on a daily basis. So the ability to bounce back and move forward is going to be valued by employers and businesses and companies in the future. Second skill is working with people. It's always just going to be a part of it, whether people are leaders in front of the room or just being behind the scenes. It's one's going to have to work with many others in many different capacities. Third skill is use of technology. As you can see with with not only computers, but artificial intelligence and blockchain and quantum computing, it's going to be more about knowing how to use it in many different capacities. It used to be like kind of programming was the big thing, and it probably still is, but it's also knowing how to use technology on an ethical basis as well too. And the fourth skill is problem solving, and as we've seen, it's just become like vital. Like, how do we solve problems in all different businesses? And specific skills such as creativity, problem solving. You look at any type of survey, whether it's this World Economic Forum or others, those are at the top of the list, year in and year out. And I mentioned, and I think what's really good, with kind of combining these experiences and skills into one's college search as one goes, looking at specific schools. And if a school really makes a priority of talking about, we want you to study away, we want you to come out with some, great skills and maybe even a credential that you're certified in blockchain or graphic design, I think that's going to be the way to go. Employers are going to want people that know something, but they can actually show it as well too, in some form of a credential or a degree. And I just think these experiences and skills bridge this gap that some people have talked about in some books, is that colleges and students come out of college saying, I've got some academic skills, I'm ready for the workforce. But the workforce and employers and businesses will say, well, great, you've got academic skills, but we want work skills. And it seems like it meshes, but it doesn't mesh. And it used to be, employers wanted students to kind of have these skills already in hand, but they realize that they don't. So now companies and businesses are like a lot more like employee management training programs, kind of more like onboarding as well too. But I think these types of experiences and skills like bridge this gap between college and the workforce as well too. So why not incorporate these factors in the college search process now, because down the road it's going to be important. And when one is actually choosing between one school versus another, does one school offer these types of experiences? Will they build these skills, and does it show in like the career services in terms of 97% of our graduates are employed or within graduate schools within 6 months upon graduation? So I think this may be a better way of doing this process by asking, again, better questions as well too. Colleges kind of put on what they want you to see. Yes, go on the official Disneyland tour, but also go on your own tour, like whether it's before or after, talk with the professor, pick up a student newspaper, like ask better and better questions. And also in terms of for students as they look at schools, even with a critical eye, even from the get-go, what does it seem like? How do they want to improve in terms of, I want to be ready for medical school, but I also want to pursue my music or whatever they want to do. So it's not like you're proving to others like the name of the school that you go to, but to find a place that really will help you and guide you, to challenge you, but to support you as well. So I don't want to make this process looking for school any harder, but I think it's important to kind of look at it in a much different light than before. I think a lot of students I'll just figure out when I get to college, and I want you kind of on your way to, trying to figure out as best you can who you are and keep doing it. So it's just an ongoing endeavor. I don't think one is really done with their college search process until their freshman year. Students say, well, first semester was this, second semester will be more of the same. And it's like, no, it won't be. It's totally different. And especially in this day and age, it's, there's just a lot of differences, that are out there from year to year and from college to college. So I think by doing this type of really pointed type of research, one is able to kind of get a better sense, as they go through the process, but also down the road when choosing the school. So if there are any questions, if you want to unmute yourself, you can ask, or you can put it in the chat section. I can entertain some questions. As Mr. Chamberlain is fond of saying, we're not solving any problems today, but I wanted to, I think bring forth these ideas of experiences and skills to the forefront when one's looking at colleges. Again, with those types of experiences through the high impact educational practices, to use those as like search criteria, above and beyond the cost, distance, when looking at a college. But also skills as well too. As one reads the information, if it's explicit, it's like, you will graduate from our institution knowing this, being able to do this. We want you to do this. We are getting in the way of your education. So I think those are schools to really strongly consider. And if they say, hey, we're good at this, we've done this for years, it's proven, our graduates love it, they're employed, they're doing great. Maybe a school that's hardly on anybody's radar, but for a certain student, it really works for them. Okay. Again, any questions that anybody wants to put in the chat section that we can perhaps cover? If you want to chat offline, maybe send me specific questions, you can send them to me at dhamilton@smrhs.org. Again, that's dhamilton@smrhs.org. Any feedback you may have, feel free to send me. But I really would encourage, students and parents to really, again, still pursue the college search process using, a lot of, again, the criteria that many of us have used over the years, But just from my vantage point with um, things changing, even how admissions is done and how it's recruited, I think these are important to kind of keep in mind. Question was, in terms of maximizing scholarship opportunities, typically, and again, in typical years, it's all about the grades, all about the rigor, which is always true. Test scores, that's going to be interesting. If there are, they can see them. If not, they can't. Some schools are test optional, which does not mean they're test blind or test unnecessary. So again, we'll see, where the future of testing lies, not only in admissions, but also scholarship review. But I think it also with, as a member of a scholarship search committee, at the University of Delaware for a number of years, I think one's intended field of study had a lot of impact as well too. Jokingly, we always refer to like, you had to spell your major correctly to kind of be considered, but that's true too. So, as I said, I don't want students to kind of figure out when they get there, like, get on your way. Like, why do you have an interest in business? Or why do you have an interest in physical therapy or civil engineering? And if you've read a lot of books and you take courses appropriate for that field of study, and you've done some outside work, or maybe you've blended your service learning opportunities with what you want to study, or as I even call it, papers with a purpose, is so you have an interest in art and font or graphic design, like maybe blend that area of interest into any type of paper that you do for any course that you have at St. Mary's Ryken in high school. I mean, start being an expert in your field if you're able to. Or if you're truly undecided and you just like learning and you just want to learn as much as you can, I'll buy that as well too. So I think you can, as one can maximize your scholarship opportunities, is still pursue things because you want to learn and do the best you can. Be the best you can be in the classroom. Do not go overboard and say, hey, I want to take as many AP courses as I can. No. You might find a course offline just because you just want to take it instead of you want to learn it. That's fine. So I would say be interesting. And most students would say, how would I do that? Well, be interesting. I'll leave that to your own devices. I can add some ideas and input. And there's a lot of things that one can do, but a lot of it is also, what the college or university is looking for as well. I just saw an email from a student this year. It was an acceptance letter from a college. In the scholarship letter, which I thought was rather interesting, is that the school would consider upgrading a student's scholarship offer if one senior year grades were better than what they've did in previous years. So I thought that was rather interesting. So again, be the best that you can be. School rankings. Question was about lead school. How much do schools ranking really matter when it comes to grad school employment, or student performance the main factor? I think now there's just so much more information that's out there. If their talent is everywhere, and I would say look no further at the NBA. One doesn't necessarily have to go to Duke to be NBA ready. There's many ways to get to the highest level, and especially with the changing shape of various economies, talent is going to be rewarded. Some schools do a really good job with it. Others are going to have to do a better job with it. The name may help getting one hired for their first job, but perhaps not their second job. I've not been one to really be too concerned with like the name of the school. I think if the student is happy and excited to go wherever they want to go, and it's like that's what I'm about. I think there's a lot more research, that there's more information, statistics out there that you can search, whether it's through, I think it's Glassdoor, that you can see what the average salaries are of people who went to a certain college and had a certain major. So I think there's a lot more information that's out there like that. And again, you know, with just the advance of, you know, certain fields, like in, you know, through technology, through AI, through energy, you know, certain fields that seem silly, like one being a augmented reality journey builder or a robot therapist, will then more than likely come to the fore. So I think it boils down to lifelong learning, and it's about skills. It's about knowing something, being certified, having credentials along the way. So yeah, great questions. Great questions. Any other questions that folks may have? Student generated, parent generated, general in nature, very specific? Ooh, great question. If you had to pick one metric to judge a school, what would it be? Student to faculty ratio, four-year graduation rate, freshman retention rate? Oh, I think with student faculty ratio, you're going to see it's going to be a range. I think I would think freshman retention rate is a good metric, because if a student is happy, they're challenged, they're supported, they're going to come back for their second year. I think anything over 80% is good. I think the national average is around 75, 76%, which if that was a grade, that's a C. It could be higher, it should be higher. Yes, a lot of factors that go into it, but at the same time, I just don't think as many people put as much research into this endeavor as they could and should. Maybe what's happening now is probably a good thing, because I'm sure so many students and parents, and like, we're all excited to go visit, like, let's go visit a college. We just do it, we go. And it's a beautiful day, and a tour guide's nice, and ice cream afterward is really tasty. So we get this like emotional attachment to it, these subjective feelings to it. Then later on, one applies, gets in, visits again, and it's a different year, different weather, the tour guide's different, the student knows a lot more about what they want to do, and all of a sudden they're trying to make an objective decision. So they're trying to fit their subjective square peg into the objective round hole, and it's problematic sometimes. So maybe now's the time to do the objective research, unfortunately all online. And the more one learns, they'll have a better sense of, when they actually go visit a college, yeah, this is what I saw. Yes, I got that vibe. Yes, this lines up with that. So in a way, this process might be better off the way it is now, to make a better decision down the road. So again, freshman retention rate is good. The four-year graduation rate, what colleges will tell you is generally going to be their six-year graduation rate according to the government parameters. You can also find a five-year rate, but a four-year graduation rate can help. One website to check out is www.collegeresults.org. Type that in, collegeresults.org. And one can put in a number of different parameters, like different colleges, and one can see like not the retention rate, but the graduation rate from 4 years to 5 years to 6 years. And so that can have an impact as well too. I think you might see maybe some colleges might have maybe like a 74% retention rate. Whether it's like Colorado School for Mines or RIT, and you're like, wow, that's not that good. That's kind of below the average. It's like, well, also consider that a lot of some STEM heavy schools, you're going to have students that realize, civil engineering is not for me. Yeah, let's go business. And they'll switch their major or transfer out. So that is something to kind of keep in mind in terms of a context when you're looking at retention rates among like kind of engineering focused or science focused schools. It may be a little less than what you might see as a normal. So just kind of keep that in mind. But again, college results are able to kind of compare and contrast, the school size, graduation rates, the percentage of students who graduate with certain types of majors. So if you want to say like, what's a good major, or how do you judge quality? A lot of different ways you can do it. Sometimes by the numbers. If you're looking at, say, 2 schools and a student wants to major in chemical engineering, and one school 0.4% students graduate with that major, and the other one is like 13%. That's a way to kind of compare and contrast. Any additional questions? These are really great specific types of questions, but I think those are necessary when you're, especially looking at schools in this day and age with like so many things, that are changing literally on a daily basis. But then again, every year is going to be like this. You're never going to have all the information that you need at one point in time. That's always going to stay the same. It's always going to be, shifting and changing as well too. All right. Well, if any students or parents want to email me with any other specific questions, given your situation, feel free to do so. I'll be checking them, rest of this morning, early this afternoon, and get back to you. Thank you for attending. Good luck with the search process. If you ever find other factors that you feel like, hey, these are really good factors to kind of consider when looking at a college, please let me know. I think students have a much better view of what life is like on a college campus. And I think even parents, you might even have a better sense since you're not too far removed from it. I feel like I'm in the Goodyear blimp, above the stadium, just seeing what's going on down there. I may not be able to have an impact on the day-to-day or the play-to-play aspect of it, but I might have a better view of just any sort of factors that might be coming into play. And I felt like today's presentation addressed some of that. So again, thank you for attending. I appreciate your comments and insights and questions. And if there's anything else I can do to help, please let me know. Have a great day.